Did you know that there are multiple ways to scale your commercial cleaning company? And what most commercial cleaning business owners don't realize are the pros and cons of each of these different routes. So by the end of this video, you're gonna understand your options for continuing to grow your commercial cleaning business and how to adjust that as you move forward, just in case the pros and cons of one option isn't working out the way you wanted it to and you want to adjust to another. And if you're wondering who I am, my name is Matt. I'm a 7-figure commercial cleaning CEO. We built our company up from scratch. So when it comes to the model behind a commercial cleaning company, you've got two main focuses. And within each of these different focuses, there are three main options to select from. And the way that a commercial cleaning business model works is owners select, whether they know it or not, one option from each of those as their primary cumulative focus. All that simply means is that they're focusing on one option from the area focus and another option from the service focus. So what you'll be able to do by the end of this video is pick the combination from which options you want to do to continue growing your company and make adjustments if you need to. So let's start off with your area focus options. And the first option here as a primary focus is going to be your local area. The pros in favor of a local area focus for your growth strategy is that you have a lot more control over what happens in your local market. This also means that your marketing costs are typically going to be lower. And that in turn means that your brand is going to spread faster because you're going to have much more of a presence or density present inside of your local market. And all that means is that word of mouth is going to work in your favor much sooner and in a much more powerful way. Now, the flip side of a locally focused commercial cleaning company is that ultimately your local market is limited. There are only so many buildings in the town or the city that you live in, and same with mine. So at some point, in order to grow, if we're actually following the proper steps to build our commercial cleaning company, we're gonna max out what we can do. So this barrier on the upper end can apply some pressure, and it can make it a little bit more painful if you lose a big account because there's less of those bigger accounts available. But the reality for most local markets is you still have plenty of room to grow for many, many years. And by the time you're looking at adjusting your strategy, you have enough cash flow and income to make the other ones happen. But whether you already have a commercial cleaning company or you're just starting out, there are still two other area focuses you can consider. And the next one will be regional. So what defines a regional focus? Regional simply means you're still able to go do things in person. You're still able to meet with clients in person. You're willing to drive further. That might be 2 or 3 hours out. So just like a local focus, you're able to have that personal touch with your clients. And that personal touch is important for keeping contracts in the long term. And the other pros that a regional focus has as opposed to a local focus is that you have a lot larger of a pool of prospects you're working with. There's a lot more large contract potentials and medium and small contract potentials. And what this means is that the typical marketing approach for a regional focus is going to be a lot more digital, as opposed to the local approach, which has a lot more marketing options available. Now, if you have salespeople or a marketing team that can help you out in a regional way, then obviously they can do marketing in a local way as well. But in most cases, most commercial cleaning business owners who are trying to cross that 7-figure level, they can't afford those other teams. So if you're taking the regional approach in order to reach that 7-figure threshold, then that just means that the marketing has to be a bit more hands-off. It's a bit less personal, so you're casting a wider net. And that really leads to the first con for regional, is that means you're going to spend a lot more money on digital marketing. You're going to have to understand Google Ads or pay someone who does and hope that they do a good job. You're also going to have to invest in SEO or do it yourself. And because you'd be working in a much wider area, it means that time costs and travel costs are much higher, because if anything happens or you got to go visit a client or you got to go do walkthroughs, it takes much more out of your day to go drive 3 hours one direction and then 3 hours right back for a single appointment. Which also means that you're going to have to rely a lot more on subcontractors. And if you're trying to build a brand with people that are loyal to you, subcontracting tends to not lend itself as the best long-term solution to that. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. It depends, a case-by-case thing. If you have any questions on that, I do have a video that touches on that here on the channel. But subcontracting is the most common option and the easiest option when it comes to a regional approach. Now, there's still a whole nother level to this with a very unique set of pros and cons, and that is going national. Now, if you're going to take a primary focus on going national, your strategy is going to adjust quite a bit. And that's because typically companies that do this go for what are called national contracts. For example, that might be like the Wells Fargo contract. I know that at the time of filming this video, they have one commercial cleaning company that they subcontract to for the entire country. And what that company does is it wins that single sale, right? Wins all of the different locations, and then it has to work on staffing those or subcontracting those out. Now, the key difference here is there's no way that you as an owner can go visit all of these locations. So either you need a staff to go do all these walkthroughs and visit them, but typically on a national contract scale, they're looking for things like price per square foot. They're going to give you aggregate data, and you're going to make your bid and your price off of that data that they give you. So that is actually one of the benefits of that model, is that the pricing process doesn't have to be as complicated. The sales process doesn't have to be as complicated, because you're really dealing with one contact at their headquarters or wherever the person is to get the deal done. Now, the downsides to the national approach is that you're going to be competing on price most of the time. And that's just because really you're having to act as a middleman. You're essentially like a cleaning broker who is trying to find the people who can fulfill on the contract once you get it. So the margins are going to be razor thin, but it's offset by that huge top line, right? You're going to be getting a smaller proportion. For example, you might be getting 20% of $10 million, right? So you'd be paying out $10 million to subcontractors, cleaners, all the people that are getting the job done. And then you have the remaining $2 million to do what you need to within your own business. As opposed to, say, a local focus where you might get a contract for $10,000 per month, but then you might be getting $5,000 to come into your business after paying for cleaning. Now, again, that might almost sound like a pro, but the con to that is if there's any adjustment just by a % or two at any point to your costs, and you already signed, the price of the contract, right? If anything changes on your end and you weren't quite aware of it, and now you got to add that extra expense and this expense and that expense in order to fulfill on the contract, your profit can actually continue to shrink, and the margins are already so thin. If you're servicing a nationwide account, it can really disrupt the profitability of your company. Now, the other con that needs to be managed when taking the national focus is that just like regional, you're going to have to be doing all this subcontracting. So it's just going to be amplified even more. You got to have subcontractor systems in place. You're going to have to maintain some show of consistency and brand, even though there are subcontractors that are doing the work. Because otherwise, you're dependent on someone else's business for your business to operate. And if they're like many commercial cleaning business owners out there, they're struggling already, they're going to be asking for more money, they're also trying to make ends meet. And so then their mistakes can become your mistakes, and that can cost you the contract, multiplied at a national scale. Now, a unique pro that can offset the lower profitability of the national accounts is that you have a massive upsell opportunity, because there are some commercial cleaning companies that take the route of, we're just going to break even on the cleaning part, and then we're going to make money on supplies or other support services or all these upsell services that we can offer on top of the janitorial services. Those are your area focuses. You typically are going to select one of those and then select one of these service focuses. And our first service focus is going to be the classic recurring cleaning services. The pros to this are oftentimes why we all started a commercial cleaning business in the first place. That's because of the long-term lifetime value of a recurring cleaning contract. Even small customers that are $1,000 per month or even less than $1,000 per month are still worth tens of thousands of dollars over the course of years and even beyond that. You simply win the contract once, you make sure they're serviced well, you make sure it's profitable, and you set it and you forget it. You might monitor a little bit, have someone else do some inspections, but it really doesn't take much to keep them. This ultimately lends itself to financial freedom, right? Because if you have recurring income and it's profitable and it's based on a stable industry like the janitorial industry, then your income is pretty well set. As long as your business has the proper systems in place and the team is doing a good job, you don't have to do anything. Now, the downside to the upside of all of those commercial cleaning contracts is that your growth rate compared to some of the other options in the commercial cleaning industry is going to be slower at first. This is because a contract for a facility is a lot bigger of a commitment than other types of work. Because just think about it, if an office is going to pay you $1,000 per month to clean their office, they're not thinking in terms of this is costing $1,000. They're thinking in terms of on an annual basis, this is costing us $12,000. Why should we give this person, this company, that 12 grand? Also, the vast majority of the time, there's only one commercial cleaning company in a facility at a time. And as long as that company is doing a good job or nothing changes internally, they typically are going to stick with that company. So your wait times for opportunities can be a little bit more lengthened. Not to say you shouldn't get in line and wait and try to compel them to use your service. It just means that compared to other things like going and buying a cheeseburger from McDonald's, right? You can buy more things than just a cheeseburger, and there can be multiple people walking in there at the same time, right? Whereas in our industry, it's limited to one per building typically. So that in turn lends itself to a higher sales effort upfront. It's still not impossible, and it's a great way to build your business. So your next service option is actually almost the complete opposite of this if you're going to flip the cons into the pros spot and the pros into the cons spot. And this is a project work focus. This is typically high margin jobs like construction cleaning, strip and wax, carpet cleaning, window cleaning, pressure washing, any sort of facility service that we can offer and provide at a higher margin. And one of the great pros with these is that they're not as big of a commitment for someone to try you out, right? Like, sure, come clean our carpets once. It doesn't mean that we're locked in forever, right? It doesn't mean there's any sort of out clauses or a huge relationship on the line. And so that means the sales effort is not as intense on the front end to get that client relationship going. And then you can upsell the recurring commercial cleaning services after. But I know that sounds great. On the flip side, your cash flow is a lot less predictable. Because some months you might have a lot of projects lined up, and another month it might be lighter. You can even get into being affected by the seasons as well. So your cash flow and your income can fluctuate, which leads to the unpredictability of staffing. Whenever you have a 5-day per week office cleaning contract that's got to get done, it's a lot easier to staff for than, say, a carpet cleaning job that's here or there, this time of day, that time of day, evening, morning, and it can get very difficult to manage. And also with this specialized project work, typically you're going to have to invest up front into specialized equipment. And that can start running you thousands to tens of thousands of dollars to get started. And because that specialized equipment is being involved for these specialized jobs, there's a lot more that can go wrong. If it's not done properly, the techniques are a bit more nuanced as opposed to, say, sweeping and mopping a floor. So you have to be ready to do a good job if you're going to go this route, which ultimately lends itself to the owner's involvement. If they take the project focused route in order to lead it into recurring services, the owner's involvement is going to be a lot more at the beginning, at least getting it started, until you have a good crew and a good schedule in place. So now we've got those two polar ends of the recurring cleaning side as a service focus, and you've got the project side as a service focus. What is the third? The third is going to be an aggregate provider. This is where you angle your main service offering as a one-stop shop for facility managers. And if you do this right, it can actually allow you to land very large contracts without having much experience at all. And here is why, because as an aggregate service provider, you're simply outsourcing everything. What you're selling is the simplicity of the relationship for the facility manager. They don't have to deal with 20 different vendors, an HVAC guy, an electrical guy, the commercial cleaning guy, any of that. They just deal with you, and you handle the complexity of getting things done in their facility. So this also means you don't need a bunch of specialized staff or employees that you got to manage internally. Typically, there's only a couple, maybe a salesperson, maybe an office person, and that's your real team that you have as a W-2. But then also you can continue to expand your list of services as fast as you desire. So I know that sounds great, but here's some cons we got to keep in mind. The big main con is very similar to that national area focus approach, and that is that you're essentially a broker at this point. You're not really owning the services for anything. You're acting as a glorified middleman. And so really, if we work that down to its logical conclusion, the facility manager that you would be hired by technically should be that middleman. It's their job to manage things. Now, obviously, it doesn't always work out that way, and they want to outsource for a reason because they have a lot of other things that they're doing, but that is one of the things that makes that route a little bit more risky. And to go along with that, you're looking at much thinner margins because you're outsourcing everything. You're looking at marking things up anywhere between 20 and 30% typically, and your cut is just that amount based on whatever the services are being provided. And going this way can make your brand feel a little bit diluted because instead of people with your uniform being in the facility performing all this different work, you're having all these other people with their uniforms and their van logos and all of their material in the facility, and you're just coordinating. So the long-term relationship with that client and the lifetime value of it is heavily dependent on how those subcontractors do in your client's facility. And so what you do as a commercial cleaning business owner is you line up the area focus next to the service focus, and then you match the ones that you want to work with. And so if you're curious about what strategy I selected, I actually selected the local area focus and the cleaning service focus because I'm a strong believer in that recurring compounding effect of commercial cleaning services. And I also strongly believe in local ownership presence, which is ultimately why we decided to go the franchising route for how we scaled nationally with our commercial cleaning business model. And this way, commercial cleaning business owners can essentially just copy and paste our business into their market, and they provide the local ownership, and they can own a business that runs without their continued involvement. Now, when it does come to franchising, there are different models and strategies in that too. And in this video, I compare different franchise types. We are nothing like a Jani-King or a Coverall or Anago or those other unit franchises you'll hear about. We actually take a very unique model. We're in the game to build millionaires. So if you want to go watch that video and just compare different franchise types, you can. If you're interested, check out the links down below. I hope that this video was helpful to you. Again, my name is Matt, your 7-figure commercial cleaning CEO. And until next time, keep building.